Hello, and welcome again to our next episode of the Awakened Stranger. And this is Cody, and we're sitting together with Todd. And Todd, I'd like to pass it over to you and let you give us an introduction of who you are and where you've gone through in life, what you've been through, and kind of what brought us to this point of talking today. So go ahead and take it away, Todd.
Hey, Cody, how are you, buddy?
Doing good. Another great day.
Yes. It was 20 degrees less about 3 days ago. Now it's a heat storm up here in New England.
It's crazy. We had 80-degree weather a couple days ago, and I woke up this morning to snow in the mountains.
I
So,
promise it's all Mother Nature, though.
yeah, it looks like it.
There's nothing going. I mean, there's I've been noticing they do a lot of. I've been seeing like on flight radar, and I kind of see the planes. They kind of go back and forth. You ever see like in an oven?
Just about, yep.
Yeah, they go back and forth. I mean, it's a hell of a joyride. I wouldn't imagine what one trip would be. Never mind 50, for the person up there. But yeah, nothing. And then it starts getting colder. The sun goes away after a little while. It's just, I'm sure it's a coincidence. But anyways, yeah. So you know, okay. So, oh boy, where do you start? I'm no better, no worse than anybody. First and foremost, we are all one. I don't judge people by race, religion, any of that stuff. That's actually I'm quite opposite and quite the contrary to that, as that is what splits man. Religion, sports. We'll get into all that another time. But I'm into everything. It seems in the last 7 years, I think there's a lot of us out there are, and there's some that are just waking up. I went through the old, getting mad, and that doesn't mean I don't go and redress my grievances and go and look at what's going on or research and discern through everything. But there's just there. If you sit there and get mad every day, you're just in a low energy and you're going to make yourself sick. So, um, I was just I had a good childhood. Long story short, I had a good childhood like everybody else. I was an athlete. Had some hiccups. Before we continue, I just tell you everything that has happened. I find now everything that's ever happened in my life has been for a reason, and it's been proven over and over. And I'll kind of hit upon that when I go through this kind of. So it was a younger kid. I was a good athlete. At that point, you try to be as good as a kid. I liked girls in sports more than I didn't realize I had a very good brain, very smart. Of course, I wasn't really directed towards that much going through their curriculum. Another story for another day. But things need to change. But other than that, I had the fun. My life was fun, and um, I did. I was cared for, and a lot of people don't have that. But and there's no but they're even stronger now, and I'll explain. So, I just think that there's trials and tribulations we all go through. So a lot of people have gone through some terrible times. A lot of people are going through terrible times now. And again, a lot of over the years when I talk to people, they're always telling me, and it's like I have to sound like the guy. I don't sound like I don't care at all. It's no different than the last person I spoke to, but just different circumstances. Okay, because it's meant to happen. Because if you didn't go through that, whether it was a year or 5 years, whether it was financial, whether it was spiritual, whether it was physical, whatever, you wouldn't have learned your lessons, and hopefully one did, and grow from that. And I just think that's what our nature is. We are all one. We're all energy. Okay. I believe that knowing
Okay.
your rights, not just your rights, your unalienable rights, your God given unalienable rights. Okay. Is crucial right now. It's vital. It's nice to walk around with your head up, not cocky, but not fearing standing under no other man, especially any public officials. I don't have to be rude to them. I just know their deal. Most of them will know about they're called jurisdictions. Okay. So you have different jurisdictions. So you're deal. Okay. Are we dealing in, is this court dealing in maritime law, trust law, contract law, common law? I mean, you could just go on and on. Equity law. It just goes on and on. Your maxims. So There's a lot of things involved, including the money system. I kind of skipped ahead here, but I do that a lot, and I don't apologize for it. I'm very, I want to just make sure that, like you, Cody, want to. There's a lot of people that are reaching out, and we can't do this alone. Okay, so we got to love ourselves before we love anybody else. That was a wicked hard lesson. I know we were discussing that, right?
Yeah.
So, um, about me, and hopefully, I'm sure we'll be talking again a lot. And so I'll just dive into little things. But so I was an athlete. I hurt my arm. I was really close to going to another level in baseball, a high level. And I'm grateful I didn't, now that I know what I know. So God, and I might say God a lot, you guys. Okay. That doesn't mean I don't know Yahuwah, and I'm not going against if you have faith or belief and you have a good heart, you're doing the right thing. Your higher power is your business. Okay.
Mhm.
We don't even know the names. I don't think we ever will. I think it's been so discombobulated and changed for the reason of the almighty dollar, and more importantly, the power of a certain small amount of individuals. And I have to hope, even though I know there's a ton of surveillance, and I know it's getting worse and worse. And I have to have that hope that there's more good than bad out there. And if not, I know that my maker is not, it's not going to give us or me more than I can handle. So, but so yeah, so then I got into, so I'm going to be very blunt, kind of the first time I talked about some of this stuff, but I'm not ashamed of it. So you just wouldn't have expected me to be one that would, get into, I hurt my arm, and I had to go through surgeries, and I was in college, and I had to have surgery, and there was some opiates involved. And that was at a time when, if I don't think they're doing it as much, but these doctors were literally getting paid by the prescribers, by the manufacturers, to get as many as they can out there. So I'm totally taking the blame. They didn't push it down my throat, but they certainly didn't try to stop me whatsoever. Quite the contrary.
Mhm.
And it's very addicting. Some people don't get sick from it. Some people just love it, especially when you just lost everything you thought you were. People are not looking at you the same. You're still a good person, but you're not that guy. So maybe, find out who your real friends are, at that point. And I chose a bad direction. I ended up getting into opiates for years and years, and kind of it was embarrassed inside, lonely. I kind of went away from my family so they didn't have to see kind of the destruction. So I was in 4 different states. I went to 30-day programs, many hospitalizations, the 4 different states. I would get it. I would be doing good in recovery. I'd start going to school, and I'd relapse, and again, I'm not blaming anybody except for myself. But then again, I don't even blame myself anymore, because I wouldn't be who I am right now. So, it was just crazy things happened, and I was starting to get as close back to home as I was going to get, doing real well. Sure enough, it happened again. And this one was a real bad one. I just because I gave up. I'm like, I'll never make it home now. I started to build up trust. How many times can you build up trust in your family, and hurt them and hurt them and hurt them, even though for some reason they needed to be hurt? I know that's a weird way to look at it. It's not. I don't want to hurt anybody, but they were going through their life, and so, because if I worried about me hurting my mother, let's say, so many times, I repent. I love her up to this day. Okay, I love her up, but I don't have to go back on it. It's a sore subject. We grew from it. We don't have, elaborating and going back on it is not getting me anywhere closer to our goals. And that is just being the best man and woman we can be. And I don't, I just want to make sure she knows I didn't forget, as far as like being there and loving her up and so forth. But when we do these things, we put other people, we make other people hurt quite a bit as well. So a lot of times at that point in our lives, we're not really thinking about that, unfortunately.
No, I
Um,
totally agree.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I've kind of, as you're talking too, I'm just relating some of the things that you and I have in common, right? You grew up playing
Great.
baseball. I was a catcher, you were the pitcher, and it was just the unique things that we're finding in common with each other. And I believe my kind of awakening came more from a spiritual side. Sounds like you're realizing some of the corruption and things that happen in the government, the different areas where we're looking to kind of learn and teach each other different aspects. So that was what really kind of drew me to wanting to continue our conversation. And for our listeners here, Todd and I have had several conversations prior to this, and so that's why I wanted to bring up is that we have come from very different starting points, but we're all here together at the same point, and that's what I think is happening. Is a lot of us are joining hands and kind of coming together and figuring out solutions to overcome a lot of these obstacles in life, and we're all coming from different points. So I kind of wanted to point that out because it's just really cool that the friendships that we've been able to make coming from such different aspects of where we've been in life and things we've gone through. So yeah, just my random thought at the moment.
I love it. Absolutely. I can almost guarantee that the majority that are listening on here are lonely. Okay. How they're handling that loneliness depends on how much they've grown and how healthy they are. But the loneliness is good. The reason I bring that up is Cody here is trying to do an amazing thing. And the reason why he blew up so fast is because people are looking for realness right now. They're, the AI and all, they don't know whether to trust they don't even know if what they're looking on the TV is good or not. And that's all for a reason. They're waking us up in this great awakening. And it's an amazing time to be alive, quite frankly. I don't think this has happened. Who knows? It could happen 100 times. I don't know how long we've been here. I don't know. I know a lot of things I know, and I know a lot of things I don't know. Or you know what I mean. Um, the the thing is, I'm excited because we'll have a lot of people that will relate with us. I'll relate with your talks with them, and then we'll be growing a huge family, which is really, really a beautiful thing because we already are family. We're brothers and sisters. You know that holding a door for somebody, Cody, could actually save somebody's life.
Oh yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
times we're living in right now. You know, unfortunately, with what happened, this terrible thing that happened to humanity in 2020, and other things of that nature. Boy, I at least I don't, I loved I love my life. I love growing up. I didn't have to worry. I thought I was safe. I thought the government was everything. I guess I was really just programmed but it was kind of somewhat better. Again, I don't want to not know what I know now because I have to move forward in honor and hold them accountable and get remedies to be able to go help our brothers and sisters. So that's just the journey I'm on. But no, waking up one day and some of you might relate. You all of a sudden everything you've ever known is not true.
Well, and that's what
Everything.
I'm noticing, right? They say that we're removing the veil, and I think it's more of the veil of forgetfulness, right? What we're they're making us forget. But I share with my wife a lot that just movies alone, right, is telling us the truth. When you start watching movies and understanding what the message is behind it, you're seeing things that were being shown, and we're seeing it as entertainment, or they're presenting it as entertainment, but yet we're being shown where the corruption is, or where things are being handed to us in ways that we think is entertainment when it's really us being taken advantage of, if you will.
That is so correct. It's they have to put it in front of us. They have to tell us. That's why, if you ever, I don't know if anybody's ever gotten the book Propaganda from Edward Bernays. They don't hide this stuff. Read that and you'll relate with everything going on right now. It's literally, he was not a good person. He was literally doing what you're saying now. He's putting it in front of us. But this has been going on all the way since the cartoons. Now you go back and watch these cartoons and you can kind of see, wow, I didn't see that picture of that sexual thing there before.
Mm.
Subconsciously is where they get you. They program you through the channels. Okay, it's all it's all black magic. It's dark magic. They live off, and I keep saying they, by the way, and I'll clear that up in a second, but they live off our negative energy. Okay. They live off when you're sad, they are stronger. When you start doing drinking, whatever the the POR, whatever, and the drinking and the drugs, and you start just caring about what the world thinks, and let's say that makeup's not good for you, but you just want to look beautiful for the world. You're only hurting yourself, and you're letting them in, and you're making them money to continue going as well. So sometimes the road less traveled is the better road, because I think we're here for a blink of an eye, and I love my life now. I mean, listen, I'm not a I don't have I'm not okay. Well, we're doing well, but the thing is, it's when you can walk around and your rights, and you know that you're being the best man or woman that you can be on a daily, minute to minute basis. I can't even kill a bug anymore. It's kind of weird, and we got to that point a while back, and I'll get into that. But it's just amazing how, if you can decalcify the pineal gland, okay, how to by the time we're 18, our pineal gland gets calcified because of all the fluoride and from the water and so forth. And I would, if you haven't heard of that, I'm sure most would look that up. Decalcifying the pineal gland. You guys know why they keep us away from dolphins, right? That
Dolphins, no.
sonar stuff. Well, what if I told you that your pineal gland cleared? You will start being able to discern through what is true and what is untrue. If not,
What's
you'll also have the energy to go look up it and discern through it. Cody?
Yeah, and see, and I actually, and it's weird because it came to me, I don't know, year and a half ago, where just out of nowhere, I no longer wanted the fluoride treatment when I was getting my teeth cleaned. I switched from normal brand toothpaste to a natural type of toothpaste that was containing no fluoride. And that was just something I started doing, and I was following my wife's lead. She's gotten into a lot of natural stuff, a lot of natural deodorants, natural toothpaste, things like that. We've switched all of our home care stuff to, we use the Norex towels to clean versus soap and other type of chemicals. Our dishwasher soap is natural. Like a lot of those things started happening, and my wife was changing that in our house way before it really made sense to me. And at first, I just thought she was crazy, and we were just spending money on regular stuff. But now all of a sudden, I'm taking natural things, and it really started changing. But then I started realizing what was changing, and then I got into different meditations, and I started on purpose decalcifying my pineal gland. I would do the flame study, or where you'd watch a flame, and just let that flicker of the flame kind of go into a meditative state. And I was starting to realize I was dreaming differently. I was paying attention to different things, and became aware of a lot of things really quick when I started getting rid of fluoride. So very different.
Absolutely. Because Cody, what is the biggest organ of the body?
The skin.
Right. So if your skin is the biggest organ, and you're sitting under a shower for a long time, and you don't have reverse osmosis throughout the house, maybe you got it for your water, which is great. You're not drinking that plastic water, right? That has plastic in
Hmm.
it, right? But you have that. So the longer the shower you take, your body is going to absorb that fluoride, right?
Hmm.
So it's not just what we consume. It's not just what we intake ingest into ourselves. It's what clothes are you wearing? Are you wearing all cotton, or are you wearing some plastic stuff that you want a polyester or whatever? So you go to the gym and you look like a superstar. So when you're sweating, it's like putting an onion in the refrigerator with plastic around it.
Wow.
Okay, by the time you get that onion out, you're going to be eating plastic.
It's covered. Yeah. See, and I was noticing, I switched, well, about 5 years ago. I kind of decided to take care of my body and my health a little bit more. I had gotten to a weight that I was no longer happy with, and I took a picture of myself in the mirror, and that was what I called my never again moment. Right? Never again will I let myself look like this. And I went on a health journey, and I started working out 6, 7 days a week, and I was sometimes doing 2 workouts a day. And I was getting to the point where I stopped drinking soda. I was a big fan
Amazing.
of Mountain Dew, and realizing that if I cut out soda and I cut out caffeine or carbonation, I stopped eating after 8 p.m. My body went into a natural fast
Beautiful.
every 12 hours. And but then drinking water, we would buy cases of water, and I was drinking water from a plastic water bottle, and that was normal. I would do that. My
I did that
mindset
a long time. Yep.
was, yeah, well, I will use one bottle a day, right? One water bottle a day. I'd fill it up several times. I'm also type 1 diabetic, so I was drinking stuff that was sugar free and nothing with extra added sugar. But that was my thing is if I didn't want soda, but I wanted flavor, I would drink water bottles with a flavor packet. And I would find myself just using the same bottle daily and then throw that away and use a different water bottle the next day. And I've recently switched to, doing the Stanley cups and using something that's a metal steel container that I can clean and purify, if you will, and sterilize and not having those plastic particles. So it's little things that I've started noticing that I was just changing without realizing why until all of a sudden I started paying attention why. It's weird when you start doing things and then hindsight comes in and you realize that you changed something on purpose, but understanding the purpose later has been kind of the fun part.
Absolutely, subconsciously. What you were waking up, but I just think there's still a higher power involved as well. What I mean by this is, like, it's funny. I know we're being surveilled. There's no doubt in my mind. Okay, and I'm not ashamed of that. Ultimately, we'll take care of that. That's sad, but that's when you have all the money in the world from us, and you don't have good intentions, and you don't want to lose control, there's nothing you really won't do. And it's all in the government documents and all that. But other than that, um, the on the note of, so you had mentioned that you had type 1.
Yeah.
So what if I told you that, and this is the honest to God truth, this is not for entertainment purposes only, I'm not giving professional advice, I'm telling you another miracle by skipping again. I guess another day we can get more into some other more. This is our first time really going, and maybe I can get into some of the other stuff that I think will really, it's going to be hard to talk about, but I think it'll really help people, and I'm not ashamed of it. But we're kind of on a good groove right now. You know, the about 8 years ago. Well, I got clean. I got clean, by the way. Let me at least finish that. So I got clean about, I don't know, about 10 years ago, let's say, maybe a little bit more, whatever. And about 7 years ago is when I really started waking up. But when I got clean, hey, I don't have I don't have drugs. I got to do something. I'll just overeat, right?
Hmm.
And I wasn't watching Barbara O'Neill or Dr. Sebe and learning every day from their videos like I started to. But I can tell you a miracle, and I actually have pictures and everything else. Not that I have to prove anything, but I took all the pictures and the medical documents and the clothes change. So I got up to. I'm a big guy already, even when I'm in perfect shape. So, but I did. I got about, I don't know. I don't really have to get into numbers. I guess I could. I don't care. I got all the way up to 360. For me, that's, for somebody that could be almost dead. I guess I was in pretty bad shape though. You tell me. So I was about 360. I was on 20 meds, and I had over 12 diseases. And it reminded me of this because when you said you had sugar, right?
Yeah.
So I had sugar, acid reflux, sleep apnea. I was wearing a machine. Like I looked like I was a jet plane flyer. Like I flew jets. Like I know you have your pilot's license, which is amazing. But I felt like I was in bed flying a jet. So
Yeah.
I had all of it, dude. All of it. Even the one before emphysema there. What's that one? Because I smoked for 20 years, right?
Okay.
So, dude, I have pictures. I'll show you later. I was not doing good. Okay. And this part of this wake up, this, when a lot of us can, maybe it was recently, maybe it was 5 years ago, maybe it was 2 years ago, maybe it was 10 years ago, maybe it was 20 years ago. But you remember, like, there's some weird stuff that happens for us. It's bigger than us, it's way bigger than us. It's almost
Mhm.
like we're just reprogrammed where everything is coming in front of you, like the videos you're supposed to be watching, right? It's
Mhm.
like, okay, wow. And or just what you're just gravitating towards, right? You're starting to gravitate towards, like I was into all sports and I was watching sports. My time was in sports and flying around with a nice car and getting the hottest girls and spending a lot of money on baloney. And now I found my time was more on, wow, my body can heal. Are you telling me
Mhm.
my body can heal? They never told me that, right?
Wow.
So I'm like,
That's great.
wow, all I got to do is herbal teas. All I got to do is ground, take mineral salt instead of that regular sodium. Don't eat fast food. Never drink soda, and ground, and then in the spiritual level, just manifest and just think in the moment. Like if you're arguing with your neighbor, like you go and make up with them, whether it's your fault or not, because you're being selfish in a sense, which is so what? You get to go home and you're not going to worry about it no more. Just an
Mm.
example. You stole something from somebody, get it back to them. I don't care what it is, dude. You're gonna suffer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've lived that part of my life, just
Go
posted
ahead.
that
Go ahead.
video. I did. I, as a teenager, I was the dumb idiot kid that was breaking into cars and stealing stereos and selling them at the
Was
pawn
that
shop for
you?
$100. That was well, and yeah, and what happened, right? I got through, I don't know, a year and a half of just being a dumb idiot and decided to change things and thought my life was going in the right direction. And sure enough, karma came right back around. What had happened is, as another person that was involved at that time had gotten in trouble for something different. And as part of a plea bargain, they kind of rolled the bus and told everybody about everything. And I was then shown that, or given basically they threw the book at me, if you will. I then had 86 charges of burglary and theft that got
Suffered.
put on
You
me.
weren't ready. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I
Listen. I don't. You could call it karma, or you could call it something else. I call it. I could call it karma too. But what I mean when I say karma, right? So when I
Mhm.
think of karma, I'm like, wow. There's no way I'm gonna be the man I want to be. Prepare myself because they were only here for a blink of an eye. Prepare myself for the next level. Working for my maker because I know all my rights. I stand under no man other than my maker. Okay. And I have no fear walking on earth, So, you learned a lot from karma. Karma comes back because it's like yin and yang, right?
Mhm.
There's got to be a good for a bad, bad for good. I mean, if you, that's why I'm telling anybody out there, if you're doing something, I don't care if anybody else knows you're doing it. You know you're doing it.
Mhm.
You know. And
Yeah.
you can't go every Sunday and tell some man that you will repent and you're sorry, get out of there. Well, it's a beautiful day and go start all the bad stuff again. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't I literally listen, I'll tell you this. This is just my opinions. I don't believe in hell. Okay. I think we're as close to it as we're going to be. Okay.
Yeah.
I literally, it's either you're going to stay here over and over, or you're going to be able to go into the outer space, which is left and right, and go as energy. Because quite frankly, if anybody can prove to me that we actually die, prove it to me. Because I
Mhm.
believe there's a soul. There's proof of that. There's a soul. There's not proof of a lot of things, but I've seen it. At least that's how my heart feels. That there's a
Yeah.
soul in here controlling this vessel, and this
Oh, absolutely.
soul it can never die. It's
That's
energy.
quantum immortality. That's we just
You have no reason to fear.
yeah. Nope, I've lived that myself, and again, maybe my own personal experiences, and a lot of my awakening came from a very large dose of psilocybin, and I left my body. My consciousness was aware of something way bigger than me. I realized that there was something way larger than religion, and yeah, when you say that our soul is here for a purpose, I was shown in my own visions, if you will, that there's a lot more out there than just a physical life, and we're here just for lessons. In my opinion, I believe I'm here to learn what it's like to live through emotions, to understand all emotions, good and bad, negative, positive. Understand what fear is, what love is, what greed is, what joy is, and that's what I feel is my purpose on my soul's lifetime here is to learn emotions, and we're experiencing a reality where all of these emotions are then being shown to us. So that's I guess from a high perspective, what I feel like I'm living through right now is how to live through all these emotions, and all these life experiences are just teaching me what that means.
That's amazing. And quite frankly, and again, I'm only basing this on me. Okay, you're gonna always have those emotions, but they're not gonna. You're going through a very emotional time right now because you're dealing with you have very close family that you're a good man. You like we talked about earlier. Let's just be honest. You have trouble saying no. Okay, because you want to help as many people as you can. But right now you're realizing that, oh, everything was going great. I was making money. I got a great family. I got everything I need. It's just you were one that was chosen, apparently. I mean, it's just you have a job to do. You're part of a higher mission now to we're not going to be able to pick who is going to learn this or who's going to help themselves or who's going to learn it and not try to help themselves. We don't know. We don't know who's got a soul who does it. We don't know if there's even only humans on here. I mean, you really just don't know. But I think that you'll always have those emotions. But I think that I went through a very, very emotional time. And like I do a lot with law now. I study multiple jurisdictions. I want to get dads back to their kids that are in for victimless crimes. Okay. So I want to be an attorney and amazing in court without having a bar license, if you will, or charging people money. Okay. I want to go around and get people. I want to help homeless. I want to help vets. Look at these vets. They come back and they realize, I mean, we're not holding anything back here. At least I'm not. You come back, you got vets here. They come back and they find out they went for the wrong reasons. And now they're not even getting taken care of. And their family looks at them no good. So they go towards possibly drugs. It's unacceptable, especially when they learn. If they knew there were so many things available to them, that aren't presented to them. I'm finding that you have like everything is in front of us. Like how we said they tell us everything.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? There are rights, and their law is traffic law, like maritime law of the sea, dead at sea, right? I'm not going to get into the straw man, the birth and all that other stuff because, quite frankly, you don't own it. People are going to jail trying to get it, and I'm not saying that you can't get remedy from it, but I'm going to leave it at that for a minute. There is a estate planning that you can get into in this and that, but my point is that there's jurisdiction, there's equity law, there's common law. Just look up common law in your state, and you'll get a whole different set of laws than your regular state statutes and codes. Now, the Constitution. Your first you got your unalienable rights. Okay, you got to know your unalienable rights from God. Just look up unalienable rights. You got to know those. Then you got to know your constitutional rights. Okay, anybody can have all this stuff they're saying about the Constitution, which Constitution, this and that. Guess what though? It works. It at least trumps all of their statutes and codes. Okay, I did a book on this because there's so many people that are getting pulled over or the side of the road where it's misunderstandings, mistakes on both parties. But ignorance of the law is no excuse. So you have the cops, let's say a public official, it's a cop situation. Then you have, there's nothing worse right away than somebody who just woke up when they get pulled over and they're trying to be a hero. Even though a sovereign citizen, they try to act like that's a horrible thing. That's a badge of honor. But we'll talk about that later. But you don't have to contract with them, but you also don't have to get shot or tased. Okay. You don't have to be a jerk to them just because you know they're money for hire and they work for a corporation. A lot of them don't even know. So can you imagine? They have like dog tags. Like the elite own them, give them a little more money, make sure their family and them are taken care of for life and after they retire, all on our dollar. But look they're guarding their own rights. They're guarding their own document. They're the custodians of their own records. How can you not feel bad for them, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of them wanted to go out and actually do the good thing. The problem is they take an oath to protect your constitutional rights, but they are never taught. It's never talked about after that again. Now that's not just the business's fault. It is mainly, but the public official's fault as well. You take an oath. You better know what that oath entails. Don't get lazy and just go with what they tell you to do. You know how these guys are on the force for so long and they don't even know their own statutes and codes. Never mind my constitutional rights. Is amazing to me. But literally, okay, I'll be very blunt with you. You run into somebody like me, I don't have to pick up a weapon. I don't have to do nothing. I'll let you get to the point of breaking my constitutional rights. And you have a bond that you took that's an insurance policy in case you do such a thing. I will go run down to the Secretary of State, get your bond. I will put it in. I will bring a tort claim into the right equity court, mostly probate, okay, and other ones. And unfortunately, at that point, they're going to know I'm serious. Your business is just in case there's any police out there. By the way, I love police. I just don't like bad policing. Okay, so you break my rights. You think that you're cool. They're gonna have your back. bro, you're gonna cause them some heartache, right? If it starts getting bad, they're gonna let you go, and then I'm coming after you privately. I'm not, unfortunately, you might lose your home because you didn't read the Constitution that you took an oath to. That's where we're at right now. But I'll leave it with one other part. So, but the person in the car, put your hands on the steering wheel if you can, and it's not that bad of a situation. You have video. You should have video in your car recording. The camera never lies, and we cannot guarantee that they're going to give us the FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act. Everything is public knowledge. Documents. That doesn't mean they're always going to give it to you 100%, but that's how you hold them accountable. If their body camera's not on, you get their name and badge number. Make sure your body cam's on, but you make sure you have a recording going as well, if you can. And if you want to have your hands on a car, if you feel there's a racism thing going on, which I'm not going to say there isn't, okay, I would put your hands on the steering wheel, and I would have cameras in my car. I wouldn't even drive. I wouldn't even travel in my vehicle without cameras pointing in the front, back, sideways. That's where we're at right now. But yeah, no, it's just like there's ways to hold them accountable. There's laws to trump their laws. They will try to act like there's not. They will make you sound like they'll try to make you feel like you're crazy. But anyways, I don't know how I went this far, but knowing your rights is powerful. They won't even let me in a court no more. I have no criminal background, but I had a couple things I beat, and they won't let me in there no more because they don't want the people in the audience to hear what I have to say.
Oh, one of my favorite comments is not knowledge is power, but the application of knowledge that creates power. And it's understanding what is right, what is wrong, and how to apply it in a way that doesn't cause problems. I think that's
life
the
or death,
important part.
Cody. It's life or death. Yep.
So
because Cody, there's a lot of confusion right now. Okay. And if anybody ever wants to talk about that, different jurisdictions, I love talking about this stuff. So jurisdictions, you want to learn your rights. You want to, there's a lot of talk about status change, how you relate with the IRS. You should really be looking into estate planning. Everybody should have a trust. Everybody should be in an estate planning, at least just using their rules like they are doing. Their system, you can use it right against them the same way. But I digress on that. I can get into all that. We can back up if you want. Where'd you want to go from here, Cody?
No, I think really, like you'd mentioned, you're about 7 years into your spiritual awakening, kind of going down the path of learning what you know. I'm 2.5 years into this, and like I said, we both kind of started at different points, but I think it's just, I don't know. I keep falling back to that idea that we're all coming from different parts, and I look at it as like string theory, right? Like everything happens for a reason. Everything's tied to each other, and I've met tons of people just recently that have all come from different areas of life and different locations on the planet, and we're all coming together for a reason. And what it means, or what it kind of seems like to me, is everybody's had a different life path and everybody has different experiences, and it's ultimately to come and teach each other what everybody knows. And
Facts.
so
We're all one. If
yeah.
I don't know. Listen, I'm a student always first. I have people I've been teaching for a long time. They want to call it teaching. I don't even call it teaching. I'm learning with them. But I'm always a student. The day you say you know everything, I don't want nothing to do with you. Because none of us know anything, and none of us will. None of us are not sinners. None of us are always going to do unbelievably perfect. Never. I don't care how awakened you are, how perfect you're trying to be. You might have littler sins, like me killing a spider is bad. I don't like that. Who am I to give that? Pick them up and throw them outside. I don't have to kill them. Who am I to take the life? I believe something will happen because of that. And you call it weird, but there's a possibility of that. Second is not walking with fear. Why? Because never mind do I know my rights, but I also know that my maker's got me under control. And if I need to go, I'm going to go. And I get to go home? So my point is why did we, like I say to myself, to everybody I say, why would everything not be like just unbelievable soon? And unbelievable to me is being able to help millions of people, putting fruit trees on every corner, helping as many people as I can, right? That is what is my interest. Okay. And I don't think that I went through 7 years, or if you want to look at it, a whole lifetime of lessons to get to this
Hmm.
moment to just all of a sudden be taken out. And if I did, then maybe there's a possibility we come back for some reason, and I'm going to be that farther along. One way or another, there's nothing to fear. And I wanted to say one last thing, Cody. Remember the 365 guy?
Yeah.
205, 365, 20 meds, 12 diseases, right?
Hmm.
I went to 205, 0 and 0 3.5 years later.
Wow.
That's a miracle. So I had multiple miracles in my life. I'm sure everybody else listening had miracles too. But
Yeah. Are you
yeah, I
willing
could
to
talk to
share
you
some
all
of
day
those?
long, dude.
Kind of just give some people some input on what these miracles have happened for you and how it's affected you.
Yeah, I was so excited just to, yeah, there's so much to talk about, and we have time, and
Mhm.
we could certainly set up again if you wanted. And I'd love to talk to you, and I'd love to meet, at some point down the road. I'm sure we'll start bringing the community together, so,
Yeah.
and you said there was a Facebook page. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we're just barely getting that going. Just doing a Facebook group. It's kind of going to be a accepted by invite only, if you will, just because we want to keep things closer and more of a community feel. I made the mistake today of doing a TikTok live and opening it up to just anybody that was on the channel or on the live to share their information, and we kind of got spammed by some people that weren't too happy for us. So
We sure
um,
did.
learning how to do these stuff as we go, because it's truly a learning process for me. I've always had the understanding of technology, but I've never used it to this capability, and so yeah, it's definitely learning. But we've started a Facebook page. It's going to be called The Awakened Stranger, same as the podcast
Oh,
name.
that's nice. Good.
And that will be, people can request to join, and then we're just kind of do a little bit of, some moderators that are going to help us keep the content clean and what we're really focused on. So, and that's really
Yeah,
what's happened. I think I had fully identified my why while sitting on the beach in Maui last month, and just realizing what was no longer wanted in my life, what I wanted to do differently, and kind of moving forward. And and that's been the thing. I always had this why, that I wanted to be a part of people's lives and be a part of memories, and their vacation times is really where it started. But I had stated out loud my own manifestation that I wanted to be a part of people's families, their lives, their happy times, and really be an influence on those memories. And I've shared with my wife several times, like, I've always felt like I was meant to do something big. I just didn't know what it was. And, in the moment, it was, having a boat, having a sailboat, having something that people would pay to get on, to go give them an experience in life, either in Hawaii or in Alaska. And stating it out loud, I've watched how fast this has grown, way bigger than the idea of a vacation boat was. We're sharing our information with the world, and I'm speaking to people around the country, in multiple countries, all the time, and it is unreal how big this has gotten, how fast that we're growing a community. And so, yeah, it's
that's
definitely a work in
amazing.
progress. We're learning how to do it as we go. So
And as long
it's
as I'm assuming, I'm just saying this for everybody. I'm assuming that if you can relate, which I think a lot of people will, and you have a good heart and you want to help yourself and then others, and you want to share your stuff to help others, or you want to learn or teach us, sort of a ministry, if you will. But I'm sure that we would love to have you. I'm sure we'd love to have everybody, as long as they have good intentions, huh, Cody?
Oh, I absolutely agree, and I definitely feel very underqualified to be any type of anything like that. I don't know why anybody would want to listen to me, but um, I do. I have this kind of just underlying feeling that I was, and I made the comment. This is as dumb as it could be, right? That I just want to be the tool in the hand of God, and I say God as well, but Source, Creator, the universe, higher
Right.
power. I've always just said I want to be a tool to be used in order to help other people. And like I've said to you, I say yes to things way faster than I think about them sometimes. And I've got to learn how to slow my mouth down before my brain can catch up sometimes. But um,
Yeah, that's a
it's
common theme in the beginning. That is a common theme. Emotions and that. And that's the other thing too, is the real two things I just want to finish on real quick. So just remind me of emotions in a minute, and pertaining to law as well. And I just wanted, I already finished how I ended with the other one, because I like to jump around. I'm trying to work on that myself. I'm always trying to better myself, but I get excited and I have just love in my heart and good intentions, but I can be sometimes, especially when I'm talking about law with people, I could be really, I could go on to 5 different things, and they might have 10 questions, and then they forget their questions, and then that ain't helping anybody. But when it comes to feelings too, is when it comes to law, right? There is no feelings. A corporation, which is all entities of the government, are corporations. Okay. And they made you into a corporation. And so you have kind of two hats you're wearing, whether you know it or not. And so a court, like in their jurisdiction, a corporation can only deal with another corporation. That's why they have to say, do you understand? And you say, yeah, that means you stand under them. You just contracted with them. Or if you give them your ID before they tell you what kind of, do you have standing here? I mean, is there a victim? Do you suspect that I about to commit or did commit a crime? No. Then I don't, that's the only reason I would have to give you my ID. Now, you don't want to argue with them. Oh, no, you better give me your ID, step out of the car. All right. So, well, okay, no problem. We got this on recording. Let me ask you a question, officer. This is how you don't get shot or tased.
Mm-hmm.
So, officer, I pleaded the fifth. You didn't like that. I'm even being quiet here now. It's getting a little annoying because ignorance of the law is no excuse. But I just needed on recording one thing. He goes, "What? Are you going to arrest me if I don't?" That's all. We could just yes, okay, no problem. Here you go. Give it to them because you're not you're kind of contract how you contract with them because now they're dealing with your business entity that your living body just goes for the ride. But you that's contracting. So you could say that now you have proof, now you have claim, now you can go after their bond. They broke your constitutional rights if everything goes the right way and if everything is true that you're saying. And that is how you can still get them by not having, I'm not giving you, I just learned I don't have to give you my ID or I'm not, you're going to have to pull me out of here, kill me. No, you don't need to do all that. You just need
Mm-hmm.
them to, hey, no, I'm going under threat, duress, and coercion. I will give you my ID only under threat. My Fourth Amendment's gone.
Well,
You taking my papers. It's nothing worse than Germany. I'm like, where are we in North Korea here? But
I would
anyways,
I got to share now that you brought that up.
go
So
ahead.
I had a personal experience of something very similar to that right there. We currently live in Utah. I'm in northern Utah, and prior to where we live now, we were about 100 miles south of us, just south of Salt Lake City, and it was a night that my family and I had gone to the state fair, and I believe it was a Sunday night. My oldest daughter, who's now an adult and married, she's also type 1 diabetic. So we were at the fair. We noticed a fire had started on the mountain that was near where we lived, and didn't think much of it. It was up on the mountain. And by the time we got home, the fire had spread extremely fast and it started coming down into the neighborhoods. And
Sounds suspect, but go ahead.
they had blocked off all of the roads and they were evacuating people from the neighborhood because the fire had started coming down towards homes.
Of
And
course it did. Yeah.
as I was turning off one of the main highways to get onto the side road into our neighborhood, they had a barricade of cops and they were not allowing people to go down towards the fire,
Mm-hmm.
which rightfully, keeping people safe.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
And so I had gotten to the front of the line essentially and was talking to an officer, explaining, and he's like, the road's blocked, we're not there. I said, I'm on the phone with my neighbor we're outside of the evacuation zone. So I just need to get to my house. My neighbors are home. There's nothing being blocked off in that area. And I also told him, I said, my daughter's diabetic. She's in the car. We've run out of insulin supplies, and I would like to go get her insulin and the medication I need to keep her safe. Well, we'll go somewhere else, but I need to at least get to my house. And his comment was, there's a hospital behind you. Turn around, go to the hospital. If it's an emergency, you can go to the hospital.
Mm.
As that conversation was happening, the officer on the side of us next to another car let that car through. And so I asked him, I said, what's the difference between me not getting to go through and that car being allowed to go through this barricade? And he said, well, they have animals at home, so they need to go get their animals.
Mm.
And I said, okay, so you're telling me that my daughter's life, and again, it wasn't in danger. We weren't in a bad spot. But at
Mm.
this point, I got upset with him. And
Yeah.
so I asked him, I said, if the other officer let a car drive through the barricade and I'm not allowed to, what will happen if I just drive? And he's like,
But if
nothing.
it was so dangerous, why didn't they accommodate them, go with them?
Yeah, well, and so that's what I asked him. I said, so if I just choose to drive forward and leave mine and your conversation and I drive down the street, will I be arrested? He said, no. And I said, so you're telling me that if I drive away from you right now, I'm okay, I will not be
So
arrested?
I'm not being detained. Yep.
Yeah. And he said, no, you will not be arrested. And I said, okay, thank you. Have a good night. And I drove away. And I drove down the street, and about 2 blocks later, there was another officer, a highway patrol at this time, that had just a flashlight, and he was flashing everybody to stop. So I pulled up next to him. At this point, the officer that I had just left 2 blocks behind got in his car and came flying up behind me to the point where he had screeched his tires as he came to a stop. My truck in the moment was still in drive. My family was in the car, had my seatbelt on. I had rolled my window down because I was talking to the highway patrol and starting to explain the same story. I just need to get to my house to get the insulin for my daughter, and we'll evacuate any areas, but my home is not in the evacuation center. The first officer comes up and he starts ripping me out of my car while
Ooh.
it's still in drive. And
Oh.
at this point, right, vehicles lock themselves automatically. So my door was locked, but my window was down. So he stepped up onto my running boards. He reached inside my door, unlocked my car, opened my car, and started yanking me out of my car.
Yeah.
My truck is still in drive. My seatbelt is still on. And so I told him, I said, look, before this gets out of hand, will you at least let me put my truck in park? My family's in my vehicle. I'm not going to get yanked out of my car and have my truck roll through an intersection because you're yanking me out of my car. So I put my truck in park. I undid my seatbelt, and he ripped me out of my truck. Slams
Sounds
me
like
up
you need some
against.
de-escalation training.
Yeah, so he slams me up against the side of my truck. So now my face is up against the window near my rear window. So my three girls are sitting there watching me get thrown up against my truck. And I very calmly asked him, I said, if you're going to act like this, will you please take me to the back of my vehicle so my kids don't have to watch this? And he handcuffed me, took me to the back of my car, and was just screaming at me to the point where he was spitting in my face by screaming at me.
Mm,
And again, I don't know how, because this was not my personality at the time. I would have very easily gotten escalated with him.
good.
And I somehow maintained my composure. And I told him, I said, look, there was a highway patrol car parked towards the vehicle. I said, I really hope that that car's camera is recording because I would like everybody to know how you're acting. And he turned around, he looked at the camera, he noticed that everything was being recorded, and he walked away. The highway patrol then put me in the back of his car, de-escalated the whole conversation, talked to my wife, talked to the officer. Eventually they unhandcuffed me, and I was able to go to my house. But
Yeah. You're a lot of your right. So what happened was you were illegally detained. Okay. You had
mhm,
a legal search and seizure. You were kidnapped. Okay. And all of it for unlawful detention. Let me ask you a question. Who was the victim
I, I
besides
guess you
you?
would, yeah, nobody. There was not one that I know of.
Okay. So what did you do? What law did you break?
I left his presence as kind of what they said. Yeah, what he
Yeah.
told me I did was failure to abide by the officer's law,
As
or
much
the,
as he would
yeah,
probably think and love that there would be a law if you left his presence that you could break,
yeah.
no, there was no law broken. You were illegally detained. They did break a lot of your constitutional rights. You certainly could bring a tort against them. Did they have a body cam on?
I don't remember. It's been a while. It's probably been 10, 12 years ago.
Okay,
But
no, it's not. You're not gonna be able to do anything now. But it was a learning lesson. See, so
yeah.
yeah, you got hotheads like that, and we can't have them out there. They're too dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they have to go, and then you have to not only do FOIA requests to find out if they have any complaints against them, when they're last. You got to find out everything because you're going to find out more. If they're dirty in one aspect, they're going to be dirty in another. But then you even have to go further if they get let go. You got to look at police stations like a half an hour down the road to see if they go into the next one because the new one won't care. No, nor will they think anybody else even knows about what this guy's been through.
Wow.
But yeah, that's my that's one of my loves is I want to make sure these public officials are honoring their oaths. They're not taking payouts. They, worse for them if they break their oaths, that's bad enough. It's really treason. But if they know what they're doing is wrong and they still do it, then it's treason. And I don't know where they're going to go after here. I can tell you that. But I leave that into God's hands. But I have to bring the claim. I don't like to be a snitch. I don't like to do lawsuits. But I have to bring the claim. Why? Because I don't want him to keep doing that to other people. You see?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy. I'm not surprised. It's happening every day. Look at all those other guys. They were, the other one knew to say no. You're not even. He even knew to say you're not even being illegally detained. Because you have the proof that the other person just left. Then you saw the other one, but this one in particular just jumps in. Now he put your life in danger too. You and your girl because your vehicle wasn't even in park.
Yeah.
What's more dangerous, crashing into something or running somebody over or a fire hitting? I mean, they're all dangerous. Which one? You got to pick one at that point.
Yeah.
Hey, the fire didn't get us, but my daughter's, well, she was out of the car and we ran her over. Yeah, something was going to happen, or you
Yeah.
just don't have hot heads like that. We can't have it. It's too dangerous. So yeah, man,
No.
yeah, this is my that's where I'm going, with no fear, walking in honor, using my pen as my weapon, and my discernment through good health. And that's without going into detail on a few other things that happened, miracles and goods and bads of my life, which I hope we will soon. But that's kind of where I'm living at now. It's living in the moment, taking care of my vessel, being as good of a man as I can, loving my brothers and sisters, right?
Mhm.
We need that right now because there's not enough of it. And a lot of people are giving up, unfortunately, and it's really sad. You think of people that are waking up right now, but so a lot of their friends and family are alienating them. They're laughing at them because they're trying to warn them of things. Don't eat that. Don't drink that. Don't wear that. Don't do that. Do you know what those things are in the sky? And these people are laughing at them. So what happens is you go through and you lay in your bed and you're like, all right, why do I even, everything I ever knew that I liked is gone. I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm trying to do the best thing and try to help people, but nobody's listening to me. Well, now we are bringing family together and realizing you're never alone, and we're going to be here for you. And I'm going to need you here for me. Okay. Because we can't do this
Yep.
alone in numbers. We're unstoppable. That doesn't mean we have to go creating an army, or the violence does not have to pertain. They're breaking their own statutes and codes, never mind the Constitution and never mind our unalienable rights. Okay, this is almost like, when you know it, it's almost like an easy fix. And if there's a lot of us that know it, it's game over. It's heaven on earth. I don't know how that's all going to work. I don't even know if there will be heaven on earth. We could be gone in a month due to
Mhm.
some crazy stuff. I don't see how that makes sense. We could get rid of them and it could be great for a while. I think there's always going to be a little bad, but it'd be like there's less than what there is now. And either way, this awakening group that you're putting together and your emotions that you're sharing was really enticing to me. And I said, not only could I help others in this, but I need help. I need love. I need to have. Cause I'm the guy there. My family and friends still, after be 7 years awake, they still don't. They just care what the world thinks. They don't even know their rights. They keep volunteering their money away and contracting with these foreign entities. They don't have to, but it's all fear mongering. That's all around me. So this group and you Cody are vital, and a beautiful, and I have a lot of friends and people that I can bring in here too. So that's going to be great. But I'm just grateful.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your time as well, and this conversation's been very enlightening for me as well as probably entertaining in a good way. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Why don't we schedule again? You're pretty booked up. We'll fit something in somewhere. I'm sure we could talk
Absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely.
All right. So hold on one second here. So anyway, well, one last thing. So before I go, my name is Todd. I'm up in Massachusetts. If you're around, you can reach. I'm DWG on Earth. Okay, I'm on my fourth TikTok account now. I only have a few followers. Every time I get to about 7,000, they cancel without even having any strikes or anything. So that's been the last 4 years. Is that you spend a lot of time working on a channel, and then all of a sudden it's just gone with no excuse. You can't even try to get it back.
Wow.
And so that is a lot of this information as we go further. With the site that I met you on, the TT,
Hmm.
very strict right now. I learned a ton on there. I'm not complaining, but they're not going to be wanting to, like, you're growing. You grew real fast for a reason. But I don't know if it's going to be, as you grow in knowledge and in family on there. It's you're going to run into you're going to be you're learning fast. You're already know a lot, so you're going to be learning
Hmm.
fast. And some of the things we they're not going to accept that on there, at least not for right now. I don't know about ever, because of the owner, but I know there's still a couple other ones out there. Hopefully we can have some fun where we do lives, maybe have 4 or 5 of us on there talking. I think we could really put together a great program. But
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
all right, so Yeah, DWG on Earth. If you want to follow, I'm on YouTube, and again, I just got my channel started again on TikTok. And thank you so much, Cody.
Absolutely. And thank you for your time. And I look forward to our next conversation.
Me too, brother. All right,
Okay.
I'm gonna say bye, but hold on a sec.